Hi everyone, this is Premacharya from Dented. How are you doing? Hope you have a great time. Welcome to my CSS course for Absolute Beginner Part 3, CSS Grid Layout. In this tutorial, we are going to learn everything about CSS Grid. Back in days, we used to use CSS property float and margin, and then flex layout, flex item to manage the whole web page layout, and which is not so great when it comes to like multi-dimensional layout. For example, if you have one item here and then showing in this portion of the screen size, and you want that portion of the element completely somewhere else in the different screen size. When you want to reorganize all the layout in the different screen size, it's extremely hard if you use Flexbox or any other old hacky style. But if you use CSS Grid layout model, it will give you so much power and so much control over which layout, which element, where you want to display based on what screen size or in anything you like. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you exactly what is CSS Grid Layout and how you can use it and manipulate it to make the website responsive without any issue. Hope you'll enjoy this tutorial. If you do, please subscribe the channel and like the video. If you have any questions and if you get stuck anywhere, feel free to write in comment section. I'll try to answer as soon as possible. All the code that we're going to write in this tutorial will be in the GitHub, and I'll provide the link to GitHub in this description below. Okay, I'll see you in the computer. Let's start it. Let's see what we're going to learn today. So first, we'll divide this video in 3 different sections, and I'll put the timeline in description below. First, we'll understand the basic principle of grid container and grid layout and all terminology we need to understand to know the grid system of the CSS. And after that, based on that theory, we will try to write our CSS grid layout, and then we will play around in this box, and then you'll learn how to write CSS grid in the CSS. And with this knowledge, we will write category page style dummy page, which looks like this. And as you can see, this on the big screen, this is the layout, and the medium screen layout is like this. See the responsive, and the small screen layout like that. So this is what you're going to build at the end of the tutorial. Stay all the way to the end, and you'll definitely learn some value from this tutorial. Let's understand the grid layout first. Let's go through the slide. Here I created slides just to give you brief knowledge about the grid CSS first before we dive into code editor. So as you already heard, probably CSS grid layout, or if you haven't heard, it is 2-dimensional layout model. And to understand the CSS, there are like about 6 terminology you want to familiarize with. So first one is grid container, and grid line, grid item, grid tracks, grid area, and grid cell. I'll go over them a little bit more in depth. Grid container is the parent element, so any element can be turned into grid element, grid container. So by just giving the display grid property, so let's say if you have some div and you have few children inside the div, if you give that parent give this property display grid or inline grid, it will turn that container into a grid container, and all the item inside will turn into grid item automatically. And then we will look into grid column, grid row, grid gaps, and grid lines. So once we start writing the grid layout, we will use grid template columns to specify how many columns we need, and grid template rows to specify how many rows we're gonna need, and we can control them and we can resize them as per our need. So this is the 2-dimensional layout I'm talking about. See, you can see like you can manage on the row and column. Let's say this blue is the container which you have given the display property grid, and this blue container has turned into the grid container now, and all the item inside has turned into the grid item. So these are the column. I have, let's say 1 2 3 4 columns, and then we have a row 1 2 3 rows. So you need to understand that columns are like stacked vertically and rows are stacked horizontally. Okay, so these, as I said before, see these, the 2 lines I have put here for you to like better understand. So item from vertically stacked is column. So this is first column, second, third column, and fourth columns. And this one called like a, see this one this one called the lines, line 1 and line 2. So anything between the lines is like items. And if you consider the whole row with the items in there, so between the first and second line, I mean starting and end line, the item inside also called grid tracks. This one and this one is column tracks. So similarly, row is stacked horizontally behind each other. So we have row 1, row 2, row 3, and this one is row tracks. So this one also called grid tracks. And the other thing we need to understand is the gap between the items. So let's say we have item 1 here, item 2 here, and this is gap between. So we can specify this one with the grid gap. So any gap between the column becomes column gap, and any gap between the rows becomes row gaps. It's pretty simple. If you understand the line, it's much easier for you to place which item is starting from where and where you want to place them. Let's say all the lines going vertically, they are like a column lines because they're following the columns, and the one line on horizontal x-axis called row line. So the top one is first row line, second row line, third row line, fourth row line. Same thing with the first column line, second column line, third column line, and fourth column line. So let's say if you want to say where this item is located based on this grid, you can say this item is located where from row line 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. So this item starts at row line 2 and ends at row line 3. Similarly, the column 1, 2, so and the column line 2 and column line 3. So by give this value, you can split out this location. So row line 1 to row line 2 to row line 3, column line 2 to column line 3 is our this grid item. So the grid item is basically the each individual direct descendant of the grid container. So this is like a parent container, the blue background, and we have like a direct descendant. These like 9 blocks here, so they are the grid items. So one is called grid item itself, and when we have like a block of item, like more than one grid item in the layout, so that is called grid area. So here basically we have like, here is the gap, so one grid, 2 row grid, and then 1 column, 2 column. So this 2 by 2 grid area. Okay, so that is all with this theoretical concept. Let's look this one by writing code in code editor. If you guys have been following along with me, my CSS course for absolute beginner, so this is the part 3 of that course. So where I'll be using like, this is the all the code, so where I'll be writing code in the same project, which is in the GitHub. The link for this GitHub account is, link for this GitHub repo is in the description below. Check it out. I have opened the this CSS tutorial for absolute beginner whole project in the VS Code here. So I'll write all the code here only, but I'll make it easier. So what I'm gonna do here is, maybe I'll create a new folder called CSS Grid Layout, and all the code we're using for CSS Grid Layout can be found inside that folder. So let's create CSS Grid. Okay, so I'll put all the CSS Grid tutorials content inside this folder. So what I'm gonna do here is that first thing, I'm gonna create a basic tutorial about the CSS Grid Layout. The topics we went through the slide, we'll cover it on this basic coding. So here I'll write down grid basic .html. Okay, let's close this for now. Okay, I'm just gonna lay out the foundation of the HTML for the page. So if you don't know like how I write code completion quickly, I use VS Code. VS Code has inbuilt emit extension that help you to write the code faster. Okay, this basic. Okay, all right, so let's create a container called wrapper, or you can say container. I'll just say wrapper here. So just make sure this one loads on the page. So I'm going to use the live server extension to serve this page. So let's open it here. Open with live server. Down. Okay, you can see here the it's saying it's container. Okay, the page is loaded here. Now let's start learning how to write CSS grid. The first thing first, let's create maybe about 9 items inside this wrapper. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? Let's put this give some style to this wrapper. So let's keep this one with 90% and margin left auto and margin right auto. Okay, and keep the background blue so that we can see the gaps later. Okay, this is the container we have here. Maybe that's a little bigger. Okay, let's give some global style to body element. On margin 0 and box sizing border box. Okay, now let's actually create some element inside. I want, like, let's maybe create 9 of them, and I'll just give the value to 1 2 3. That's just we're going to identify the boxes by the number. So these are the boxes from 1 to 9, 1 to 3. Oh, no wonder I got this 3 twice. Make it 9. Save it. Okay, you probably cannot see the font, it's pretty small. Let's make the font size bigger as well. Font size, maybe give it to 30 pixel. Yeah. Okay, to these items let's give a background color so that we can see the text. All the descendant of the wrapper first descendant divs will have background gray, not attachment, background color. Okay, that's fine. So because they are just touching each other, so that's why they're going all the way to the end. So by default items are stacking from top to bottom and they are starting from very left. Okay, so let's create this one as a box first. So if this one, actually they are the different boxes elements here inside the blue container. So let's turn this blue container into the grid layout. So I'll leave these comments here so that you guys can reference here later if you need to. So to turn that blue container to grid container, simply you give display property value grid. You give grid or you give grid inline. So we are going to use grid here because we are not going to manage element inside the grid inline. So just save it. Now you can see it's just stretching to make the page all full. What I want to do is let's keep the grid gap. There is another one called gap. So gap is, let's say, 10 pixel. That means it will create the gap between all the grids. So the grid gap is the short form of grid row gap, and so if you have like a, you can do this way to give the grid gap, like you want all the row gaps between the rows 10 pixel, and you want the gap between the column. You can specify separately, or you can use short-handed property using first row and column. Doesn't change, it's still the same if you have two different value, or you only have exact same value, then you can even just keep one. Okay, that's a grid gap. Okay, now this box, let's make it on the few row. Let's give 3 rows, and let's put this item in a row. So to do that, we can specify grid template columns. We want to put in 3 columns, so you can give the space like how much you want. You want maybe first column you want 50 pixel, second column maybe you want auto, and third column maybe you want 250 pixel. 50 would be too small, let's give it 200. Save it. So okay, not row yet, let's do column first. See, now they all like gone into column 1, 2, 3. You can see the now sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now this one taking up like 100 pixel, the block 3 taking up 250 pixel, and the center one keeping up all the space, whatever is there. Let's keep this value in the center so that we can see it properly. We can give this one to display grid, justify content center, and align item center. So they are perfect center. How about if I do color to white? Can you see better? Yeah, I think that's much better. Okay, and even font, you want font size even bigger. Okay, rim. Okay, so let's okay, so now we have this item in 3 column. So let's say if you only have 8, so 8 item, let's say. See, we'll just go from like a top left corner all the way to bottom right corner. Let's put that back, and now you can give this value if you want like a equal space. You can also, okay, there are a few units you can use. Okay, I'll just write down for you here. Yeah. Okay, you can use auto, you can use pixel, you can use like here you can even use for rim value, like you can use any these are the units you can use it. So pixel, rim, all the like how you can resize your font on the web page, you can use all of those, including min max, min content, and max content. We'll look min max example later on. The other cool unit you can use is FR, which is the maybe abbreviation of fraction. So you can specify this one in fraction. Let's say first one you want 1 fraction of the total space, second one you want 2 fraction, and the third one you want 1 fraction. See, now it just does the calculation of all width and then divide into, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4. So total 4 pieces, and give 1% to the first fraction and then second to the second fraction, and so on. So you can also use, let's say if you have, for example, all of them equal sizes, you can write this one, or you can even write this one in, even make it shorter. There is another way you can write this one. Let's say if you have multiple, let's say for example, or 5, you have, let's say 5 5 columns, right? And they are all equal. Instead of writing the same thing 5 times, what you can do is you can write a function called repeat. You tell how many times you want them to repeat and how much size you want them to have each. So this way they all have equal size and they will repeat. Let's say change to 3 back again. See, you can use this one. It's pretty cool. You can even mix like a fraction and the other unit. If you have, let's say, first one you want to give 50%, second one 1 fraction, and third one, let's say 350 pixel, you can do so as well. Sorry, that's become 35 pixel, too small. Okay, so what's happening is that first it will take the 330 pixel, sorry 50, it will take the 50% of the total space and then go for 350 pixel, and whatever left over will be divided to fraction. So that's the unit. Now let's do same thing with the maybe make this one 20%. Now you can manage the space for the row as well. To do that, you can do simply grid template row, and you want like how much you want space. This one, let's say this one you want always 100 pixel, and the second one you want to use, let's say mix max, so you want at least 250 pixel, or you can say 1 fraction when you have a extra space. And the third one you probably want let's say 2 fraction, or maybe give some 3 rem. Okay, 2 rem. Now you see how they are. Oops, hang on, the width it just gone hiding here. Let's maybe write 4 rem. See now how the space is distributed, so you can control the space like the way you want here. So all you need to do is just define the templates, row and template column. Let's say for example I'll just give this one for your reference. Let's say we put this all auto, right? I want to put this one too. Okay, I think the better way is I'll comment out for you this one and write more. Grid template rows, I'll put them auto, so that means they are equally sized. Now we can you already know how to do the grid grab. Okay, so before, if you remember here, now you can see the example. Let's comment this out. Now you can see if you want to have a different size between gaps, now you can use this separately this way. Maybe not that easy to see. Let's put maybe this one 5. See, now you can see this one is pretty smaller and then the row is pretty wider. So, and also I told you that you can do combine, first the row and then the column. Let's say now this time make it 20 just for fun. See, now you can manage the space in one property. So since we just want combine, we just leave this one. I just wanted to show this one. Okay, that works. The next we are going to look into is the positioning element using the grid item. Let's say I want to give the class name to this one separately, so that we can manage them in the grid level. Nothing changed. Now if you want to, let's say, move this around, you put this one here or this one there, you can use units. Let's look into how we can manage that. Let's say I want this grid item 1. For example, if you want to put this grid item 1 somewhere here, now here, let's say put it here. That means we need to know the location. So what's the grid So let's say if you want item here, so that means we need to have the position of row line 1, remember row line 2. Let me make easy for you, just a second. I'll put this wrapper, I'll give padding little bit, padding maybe 5 pixel top bottom, and let's make it 10 pixel. Okay, so this is line 1, sorry, row 1, line 1, row line 2, row line 3, row line 4. So if you want to bring this one here, we need to change the value of these rows of this element to line 1 and line 2, and similarly column line to column 2. Let's see how we can put that there. So select the item and then write down simply grid inside grid row. You want to write in start and then end. So we want 1, 2. Let's go 2, and then by we want this is starting from 2 and ending to 3. So if you do like that, it will come here because we haven't specified the column row yet. So start from 1, 2. Start from grid row 2 to grid row 3. If you want to take whole up space, you can even do grid 4. Now you can take 2 space. Okay, let's put that one back, and then you want to put this one here or here. So if you want to, let's say, put here, for example, so we want row line 1, row line 2, row line 3 is the starting point. So 3 is the starting point, and we want to end on grid line 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, this has to be not row column. Now see, the 1 has gone here. Regardless how you're writing in the HTML, they don't have to present that way. You can always control them using the CSS. Yeah, especially grid. Now you can this is what it called 2 dimension. So you can control the row, you can control the column. And if you want to take up 2 rows, do the same thing. Maybe you want to start from line 1, line 2. So this is column line, column 2. Go to column 2 to go to column 4. See, now you occupy all the space. I'll just put that one back again. So this is how you can control it. And there's another way you can write as well. Let's I want to go to, let's give this to grid item 8. What also you can do is that you can use the starting point to, if you want to, let's say, specify how much space you want to take it. For example, this one is you want to start from line 1, column line 2. Grid, we are doing for the column side, okay? So start from the grid column 2, and how much you want to expand that. You can put span to tell how many rows you want to cover up. So let's say we have 2 in this case. Just save it, and now see, it's taking up 2. So you can do same thing. You want to do column as well. Let's say column grid column. Let's say you want to start from here and then take up all space. So that means we need column line 1, column line 2. Starting point is column line 2, and then expand to 1, 2. Let's say 2. Make it 2 as well. Span. Column, that has to be row, guys. See, now starting from row line 1, 2, and then spanning to 2 more blocks, 2 more grid. So that's 1 here, 2 there. This is how you can resize the item. Okay, I'll just leave this one in comment for you. Let's put back to the normal, I mean basic. Where is it? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, that's fine. And now the next we want to see is the very easy one to do it, and this is most people use it, called grid area. So let's look into grid template area, which is very easy to use and control element on whole layout. So to do that, basically we need to specify that one inside the parent element. This is our parent element, whole blue container, remember that one? So we can use in the combination of the grid template column and row. So let's keep this one under here. We write down grid template area, grid template area. In grid template area, basically you'll give a name to each of this grid item and then use that grid item and then just place like how you want to represent in the web page. So here we don't have any area, so before we writing code for the right here, we need the name. In grid template area, what do you want to organize? Let's give this each of them a name. Okay, for example, we start already grid item 1. So let's give name this like a grid item 1 name, item 1 only. So you need to write property grid area, not crowd area, sorry, grid area. So this one, let's say item 1. You can name whatever you want. You can say monkey here, monkey area. Okay, that's just the example. That doesn't make meaning, but okay. Grid area item, maybe item 1, it's more meaningful. Item 1. And now we need to give this property to each element, and that name has to be unique to each. So this one give 2, no, that's 8. So let's do this one until all of them till 9. Item 2. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do quickly, grid area. So how about I'll just copy another 6 or 7, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So here we need item, grid item, wait, what is it? Okay, see, we have like class name item 1, item 2, all the way to 9. Let's give these them a name. 1 2 area 2. Oops, should have done this one too. Oh no, what happened? Okay, this is 1, this is 2, 3 is 3, 4. So these are the class name and these are the value. You see, read this one because it's invalid, because that's not the element, that's the class. Start with dot. Okay, let's continue. Give class item 6 a value 6, item 7 a value 7, item 8 already have, item 9 the value 9. Let's put the order. Okay, alright, these are the name given. Okay, so what happening here is that when you like give the grid area, they all like stacking on the top of each other, and the last one has the date index higher. Okay, now we have given the name for each item, and now we write the name how you want to display here. So first you do write the name inside the quotation. So this is row 1, and if you want to make another row, this you have to do same thing in the column, sorry, in the quotation, row 2, and then this is going to be row 1, row 2, like this. And if you want column, you need to write the grid name inside there. So I want the grid name, since we have like 3 column defined here, so let's write down 3 item name. We have item 1, we want item 2, and we want item 3 on the row 1. And let's do same thing with the item. Now goes to item 3, item 3, item 4, item 5, and another row, item 6, item 7, item 8. 1 2 3. Again, I messed it up, didn't I? What's wrong with me? Going 3 times 3, maybe 3 times 3 equals to 9. That's what happening. Well, that's just trying to be not really funny. Okay, that's now makes sense. Now if I save it, see, back to normal. If you want to like give equal space, for example, we just keep this one as a commented, and what I'll do, let's comment and then let's save it. Now it will have like equal size. You can use grid template column and rows to define the different sizes, but if you want equal size, you can always just leave as it is. And now let's say you have 9, right? So if you want to cover up 5, this 2 space by the 5 item 5, you can use item 5 here, and this means you are taking 2 rows. Remember that, yeah? I'll write down item. So when you save it, because we did not give any area for the item 6, that's why it's going there. So what you can do is okay, just ignore this one for now. See, now you given the item 5, which is item 5 here. That's the grid area value of item 5 class, which is this item here. Now you can see this one by going there. Just to make your more visual, I can give busy red so that you know like we are in small screen. Okay. Now you have item 1, item 3, and taking all the space, let's say. So I want in row 2, I want item 3 only, and row 3, I want 3 items, 5, 6, 7, and on the last one we need 8 and 9. Do 3 column on all, and of course we have to give here 3 column as well if you want to specify that. See, when I save it, it's not working. You can see here because our ratio is not right. So we need to make sure, if you are writing like 3 column, make sure you have something in the 3 column here. You can, if you want to leave space, you can write dot here. You can do that. Just leave the empty space. See, now it will create the empty space. Okay, I think we haven't defined the 4, that's why it's just showing that. I can put, let's say 4 here, and if I want empty space somewhere, you can put like this, empty space. Oops. See, empty space, but you cannot leave empty and then, I mean, cannot have like a not enough row or not enough column, so it's not gonna work. So here, what I want to do, let's make one line to one row in row one column, one row with the 2 column and with 1 column, and see how you can make it. So if you want to have like a, let's say two rows somewhere, you can just make 2 columns only. You just make maximum number of repetition based on how many column you need. So I need 2 because I want to make this one 2 twice, and third one I want again full. So we need to write twice because we need to make sure ratio is correct. I want 5 and 6 in 2. And 7 will take whole space, whole row. When you save it, and 1, 2, what is 2? 2, 3 whole, 4 and 5. Okay. There you go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, now 2 on the top and then 1 full with 4. It's okay. 4 full with 5 and 6 has 2 fraction. And now you can also control, you want the left side more smaller, you can do now, you can just give the grid the template row, not int, template row, no, column. I want first one is 1 fraction, second one is second fraction, double the size. See, now you can achieve that. But if you go in the bigger screen, you have like a normal screen. So this is very handy for your responsive website. Okay, so I'll just I'll just leave this one as it is. See, they are all everywhere. I mean, they still interacting that the layout you have given on the mobile and the full screen, but just the size has turned into smaller because you fixed the size. So the reason I did, similar to Flexbox, we have few properties like justify content, justify item. We can use that one as well in container level. Let's say they are all starting from the start, right? The row start and column start of each grid. You can basically inspect the page and see the grid item. If you hover over into any of the item, you can see there are like a little dotted box with the dotted line, and then it shows the gap between them. If I hover over it, or if I click here and then point it out, can you see all the little like a dot box? That means it's showing like a grid item and it is the gaps. Okay, I'll just close this one out. And let's say you can use the another property called justify content, like in the Flexbox, where you want to do, you want to start is by default is start. You can use start, you can use end, you can use center, I guess. Yeah, so similarly you can use align item as well. Oh, sorry, you can use center, or you can use start. Start is the always default, and you can do end as well. Okay, so okay, I'll just comment this out for you. And you can use align content as well. Align content, again, align content is similar to line item, because you're aligning item vertically. So it's almost the same. Okay, you can do start. Okay, and the center again. You can move around whole item. Okay, I'll just comment out this one as well for your reference. And then there are a few more the grid item properties we can look at. Okay, you already saw the grid row. I mean, you can specify where you want to start and the specific grid item. And within the item, you can define like where do you want to be on this one or this actual part. You can especially override the value you have put here in the container level. You can override the item alignment in the actual grid item. Let me show you quickly. If I do, for example, 2, let's work on 5. It's in the center. Let's say align self. See, you can see align self. Let's do start is default, so let's do align self start is default. It's always starting at the beginning, so let's say you can do end. See, it's just going down by itself only, and you can do center as well. There you go. And there's another one you can call, I think, place self. It is like a combination of align item and justify self. So align item is center. Let's do end, and let's this comment out for a second. Okay, and another one called justify self. This is now you are aligning on the horizontal axis using let's say left. You are now putting all the way at the end of this element. Let me show you that quickly in the grid. So when I click on C here, this is the grid box. Now the item is aligned at the end of vertically and horizontally. So you can do that with the align self is vertical alignment, justify self is horizontal alignment. So you can achieve that one both with place self. You can give both and you should receive the same result. Or this one maybe do middle, oh not middle, center. See now the center but at the end of the row. Okay, I'll just comment this out. Okay, I think that is pretty much you need to understand as a basic. Hey guys, this video getting really long. I don't want to miss any important part of the CSS Grid Layout, so I try to cover as much as possible in as short time as I can. At the beginning of this video, I promise you that I'll include everything in this video in 3 steps. The first one being the fundamental in the slideshow, and the second one is coding the basic CSS Grid Layout, and the third one is creating a dummy e-commerce product listing page. I'm sorry about that guys. If I put all in this video, it will be more than 1 hour. So I'll divide this into 2 video tutorials, and I'll make a single video for creating a dummy responsive layout in the next video. I promise you guys the content will be exactly same, and I'll upload both the tutorials together so that if you wanna watch all of them at once, you can have it. The link in the screen as well as in the description below. I hope you are learning something from this tutorial. If you do, please like the video, and if you wanna receive more tutorial like this, please subscribe the channel and turn on the notification. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.